Good day everyone, especially to you Mamel. We are the Techno-Social Innovators. This is the continuation of the reportorial activity in the chapter 1, which is all about the historical antecedents in the course of science and technology. And the learning outcomes of this report was discussed by Ms. Mariel de los Santos, and the first topic is also discussed by Mr. Carl Daniel Ramirez and Ms. Mariel de los Santos. And now, we will move on to the next topic, which I will be discussing. I am Ijimari Cabanag, and I will discuss all about the Sumerian civilization. So Samaria is located on the southernmost tip of ancient Mesopotamia. Sumerians are known for their high degree of cooperation with one another and their desire for great things. So Sumer is the site of the earliest known civilization located in the southernmost part of Mesopotamia. In the modern days, Sumer is known as the southern Iraq, and Sumerians are known for not being contented of the things that they have, so they mostly desire for the things that they needed. So their necessities and other things that would make their life better. So they created new ideas, created new crafts and inventions, and also to innovate their basic things. And this innovation evolved during in this civilization. One of these, firstly, we have the cuneiform. This is one of the major contribution of the Sumerians is the development of the first writing system. It is a system that utilizes word pictures and triangular symbols which are carved on clay using wedge instruments, and then it is left to dry. This allowed the Sumerians to keep records of things with great historical value on their everyday life. This system was vital for the Sumerians as it allowed them to document and manage various aspects of their society. This includes their trades, their laws, their historical events, and also they could keep records of their everyday activities. And it is also used in their economic transactions, their religious practices, and their political agreements. It was also used to create literature such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is the oldest known stories. So see, cuneiform's invention was crucial in advancing the complexity of Sumerian civilization, which could also influence other cultures across the Mesopotamia. So another important contribution of the Sumerians is the city of Uruk. It is a great wonder not only because it is considered to be the first true city in the world, but also for the way it is erected. There were no building stones in the location in the city and lumber was limited, making the construction a big challenge. The Sumerians were able to build the city by using only mud or clay from the rivers, which they mix with reeds, and it produces sun-baked bricks, which is a true engineering feat. So these same materials were used to build massive walls around the city that offers them protection from wild animals and hostile invaders. Another engineering and architectural feat of the Sumerians is the Great Ziggurat of Ur. The ziggurat is also called the Mountain of God. It was built in the same manner that they constructed the city of Uruk. Without much building materials, the structure was constructed by using sun-baked bricks. The ziggurat served as a sacred place of their chief god, where only their priests were allowed to enter. The template showcases not only to elaborate and intricate the Sumerian architecture, but also the remarkable technology used to build it. So as such, even until today, people still enjoy and marvel at the preserved great ziggurats of Ur. So the ziggurat serves as a vital religious function as it was dedicated to their chief god. And my furthermore research, they have their god called Enlil, which is one of the most important gods in the pantheon. Enlil has been described as the father, the creator or supreme lord and the raging storm. It was designed as a steep pyramid with several levels of terraces rising high above the ground. Only priests were allowed to access the top of the ziggurat, where they would perform their religious ceremonies and other sacrifices. So, as population increased, so did the demand for food. The Sumerians were challenged to mass produce food items, but the elements in the environment seemed uncooperative. So it was difficult to get water from the rivers, and thus they could not maintain their farmlands. So some groups had scarce water supply, while others had problem with flooding that is caused by the rivers. This method was considered as one of the world's most beneficial engineering works. Through the dikes, canals, the Sumerians were able year-long farming and harvesting, which increased their food production. So this irrigation system was one of the world's earliest and most important engineering feats. This enabled year-round farming. So for the Sumerians that they were so creative, they had an idea that they wanted to, since their population increases as well as their food demand, they created an idea that would contribute to their farming. That's why they created irrigations to maintain their farmlands that could produce food efficiently. And the dikes were also has a great contribution, especially it's a solution to the problem because the rivers causes destructive floods that would destruct their city, and that's why they created these dikes to prevent flash floods or floods from their rivers. So another challenge that Sumerians at that time is that the wheel transportation is not yet invented. The main mode of transportation was through waterways such as rivers and seas, these boats that were used to carry large quantities of products and were able to cover large distances. However, they wanted to discover faraway lands to settle. The population was getting larger, not enough, and boats were to accommodate more people and products. So they needed a mode of transportation that did not require much human resources, and some resources attribute to the Sumerians the invention of sailboats to address their increasing demands. Sailboats were essential in transportation and trading, as well as fostering in culture, information, and technology. So in the latter part of their history, the Sumerians were able to invent the wheel, since the specialized tools needed to create it were already available. The first wheels were not made for transportation but for farm work and food processes. With the use of the wheel and axle, mass production made easier, and farmers were able to grain meals in less effort and less time. So in ancient Sumerian civilization, the wheel was initially not used for transportation, not like nowadays. Mostly wheels are used in vehicle transportation, just like motorcycles, as the bus, trucks, and other vehicles. But in the ancient Sumerian civilization, the wheels was initially used for food processes such as milling grains. And according to my research, the Sumerians were among the first to use mechanical devices to make agricultural work easier and more efficient. And next, we have the plow. The plow was invented to dig the earth in a faster pace. As the plow breaks to the ground, the farmer would just drop the seeds and the farm work would already be done. With this tool, farmers could cultivate larger parcels of land faster, enable them to mass produce food without taking too much effort and time. So as the Sumerians were very creative at that time, they created an idea that they don't want to stay as being a food gatherers. So having their innovative minds, they wanted to become farm cultivators. That's why they invented the plow to make their farm work easier and faster. So next is we have the roads. With this work, the flow of the traffic became faster and more organized. Made with sun-baked bricks, they laid down on the ground. Then later, they poured the bitumen, which is a black sticky substance similar to asphalt, to smoothen the roads.
Good evening, everyone. So our topic is about Babylonian civilization. Babylonian civilization emerged near the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. The Babylonians were great builders, engineers, architects. One of their major contributions is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the seven wonders of ancient world. Today, people can only marvel at the beauty of the famous Hanging Gardens of Babylon. From stories of historians, painting that portrays the place, and even now in our modern times, accessing through any media platform that we have. So this is the picture of the Hanging Garden of Babylon. The Hanging Garden was totally covered up by layer upon layers of several species of plants, trees, and veins. Legends. The great Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II built the gardens for his wife, Queen Amytis. However, no physical or archaeological evidence has been found to prove the existence of the gardens. Since time, people have been debating. Many said it was just a product of the creative imagination of the people. On the other hand, if it really existed, it must have been destroyed by a war, erosion, or an earthquake. If the stories were true, the Hanging Garden of Babylon may be considered as one of the great engineering and architectural achievements of the world that is almost impossible to replicate. The Egyptian civilization. Egyptian civilization located in North Africa. Many stories tell about the engineering feats of the Egyptians, especially regarding the infrastructure established by the pharaohs. So next is the paper or papyrus. One of the earlier contributing of Egyptian civilization was the paper or papyrus. Although Egypt was not the first to develop a system of writing, they were able to make writing much more easier. So before the Egyptian innovation, clay tablets were used. So clay tablets were very fragile and heavy. Hence, Egyptian invention of the paper or papyrus was a welcome development. So this is the picture of a paper or papyrus. Paper or papyrus was plant that grew abundantly along the Nile River in Egypt. So they were able to process the plant to thin sheets on which they would write down things. Papyrus was lighter, thinner, easy to carry, and store it less breakable than clay tablets. People were able to send letters anywhere since the pieces were very light and can be carried by birds. So next, we have the hieroglyphics. So this is the picture of hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics, like the Sumerians, the Egyptian also developed a system writing using symbols known as hieroglyphics. So although some said that hieroglyphic was adapted from the early writing system established in Mesopotamia as a result of trade between civilizations. But the Egyptians believed that this writing system was provided to them by the god. This form of writing can be still seen today and remain to us famous as the pyramids. Hieroglyphics was history and culture of the ancient Egyptians, where pyramids were always well preserved and it was carved the walls of pyramids and different structures. So this is the perfect example of a hieroglyphic. So as you can see, it is well carved and it's well preserved. So we can still see it, physically, any different structures and like pyramids. Next we have the cosmetic. So this is a perfect example of a woman wearing cosmetic in Egyptian civilization. So cosmetic in Egyptian also invented the use of cosmetic. In a modern times, so the sole purpose of using cosmetic is to highlight our facial features and to cover blemishes and many more. In ancient Egypt, cosmetic was for both health and aesthetics reasons. So Egyptians were cool around the eyes to prevent under-eye diseases. Cool was created by mixing salt or malachite with mineral galera. So Egyptians also believed that a person wearing makeup protected from evil and that beauty has a sign of holiness. So this is a woman or Egyptian woman wearing a cool around the eyes to prevent ear and eye disease or prevent eye diseases. So as you can see at the picture of a woman or in the statue, it has a makeup around its eyes. So it's not just for aesthetic, but it also has a for health reasons because maybe during their times there are famous that is related to eye diseases. And that's all. Thank you.
So, good morning, Ma'am Mel. This is Roman civilization. The Roman Empire was perceived to be the strongest political and social entity in the West. It was considered to be the cradle of politics and governance during that period. Because the Roman Empire was so large, other civilizations looked up to it as their model in terms of legislation and codified laws. So, first, what is legislation and codified laws? Legislation is the process of making laws, and the codified laws are those laws that have been formally written down and arranged in an organized way. So, the Roman Empire was viewed as the most powerful and influential political and social force in the Western world. It was seen as the origin of political systems and laws, and other civilizations admired and emulated its legal and governance structures. Many modern discoveries and inventions trace back to Roman innovations. First is the newspaper. One of the major contributions of the Romans is the newspaper. The first newspaper, known as gazettes, contained announcement of the Roman Empire to the people. Made before the invention of paper, these gazettes were engraved in metal or stone tablets and publicly displayed. So, the Romans contributed to the creation of the newspaper by producing early version called gazettes, which displayed government announcements on metal or stone tablets. Once paper was invented, it became easier to share information, and the Romans began recording and quickly publishing government proceedings. Much like modern newspapers provide news to the public today. So next is the bound books or codex. With the invention of paper, it became easier for civilization to write down everything that happened in their time. Record keeping was much easier since paper did not easily break. was lightweight and did not occupy much space. As a result, civilization became fond of record keeping, especially documenting historical events and newly legislated laws. According to sources, Julius Caesar started the tradition of stacking up papyrus to form pages of a book. Later on, they were able to provide covers to protect the papyrus. So, the invention of paper made record keeping easier for civilizations because it was lightweight, durable, and compact, not like the stone tablet or metal. This led to more extensive documentation of history, laws, and literature. The Romans, including Julius Caesar, contributed to the development of the book by stacking papyrus sheets and adding covers, first made of wax and later of animal skin, creating the first book of codices.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. The next report is all about Roman architecture. Roman architecture is one of the most visual contributions of the ancient Rome Empire to the world. Was considered a continuation of Greek architecture, hence the resemblance. However, Roman architecture was still regarded as pioneering since the Romans were able to adapt new building and engineering technology on architectural design established in the past. This development in the field of engineering and architecture was fully supported and funded by the Roman government, so they were able to implement major projects such as large church, cathedrals and basilicas, aqueducts and coliseum, amphitheater, and even residential houses. So Roman architecture, influenced by Greek designs, is one of the most significant contributions of the Roman Empire, known for its strength and durability. Romans innovated by applying new building techniques, preserving and enhancing older architecture styles, and creating sturdier structure like cathedrals, aqueducts, and amphitheater. Supported by the government, this project produced enduring buildings that still stand today, showcasing the advanced technology of ancient Rome. So, uh, so Roman architecture, they get idea from Greek architecture, but the but they produce a sturdier and stronger building. So the idea of Greek, they change no they change it, but they make it stronger. They apply the idea of Greek, but Roman architecture, they made it stronger, but same design as the Greek designers. And the next is the Roman numeral. Although other number system had already been established before the Roman numerals, this old system could not keep up with high calculation requirements due to the increasing of communication and trade among nations. Since the Roman Empire was expanded, it had to deal with nations to maintain its power. For this reason, the Romans devised their own number system specially to address the needs for a standard counting method that would meet their increasing communication and trade concerns. Although Roman numeral is no longer widely used today, Due to its inherent limitations, quite number of enthusiasts would still use it over popular number system like Hindu-Arabic system due to its aesthetic and historical value. Roman numerals were created by the Romans to meet the growing needs for standard counting system as the empire expanded and trade and communication increased. While other number systems exist, they were not sufficient for this demand, although Roman numerals are less commonly used today.
So that's all for the reporting of the techno-social innovators. From the Sumerian civilization to Babylonian, Egyptian, and Roman civilization. We will be asking some questions, so I hope you listen well and study about our assigned topic. Thank you so much, and that's all.